news from the KQAM News Center. Brought to you by Continental Truck Accessories, 6701 South Broadway. Show your truck some love with Continental Truck Accessories.
Good afternoon, I'm Andy Hooser. Well, the school board meeting from Hutchinson USD 308 was taken off of their Facebook live stream after what Facebook says was a large amount of discussion around the COVID-19 pandemic and the district's mask policy. KBCH News reports that the school district in Hutchinson is one of the only ones in that area where masks are required in all buildings and vehicles during the new school year. But that discussion drew large crowds of parents that voiced their objections to the mask mandates. The school district has announced that they will be making changes to make sure that they have their videos back up online in the future. In other news, hospitals in Sedgwick County have reported that they're out of ICU beds with the increase in COVID-19 patients, with both Wesley Medical Center and Via Christi Hospital having more than 208 total ICU beds completely full. But it's also putting pressure on the staff at the hospitals.
It's a little complicated. It's not just space, it's also staffing, and you can't just put these patients in a room on a ventilator and walk away. You have to have staff that are monitoring them every minute.
That was Dr. Menz with the Sedgwick County Health Department on Cake News. That's the latest news. Now let's go to sports.
NBC World Series action rolled on at Riverfront Stadium last night, as in game number 1, it was broke open late by the Seattle Studs. They pull away to beat the Derby Twins 10-3. Seattle advances on. They will now face the Hayes Larks tonight in another elimination game. In elimination game number 2 last night, surprisingly, Sunflower League champion Hutchinson gets beat by Great Bend. So the Batcats are moving on. They will now face Cheney tonight on KQAM. From the KGSO Sports Desk, I'm Mason Voth.
O'Reilly. Cleaning your fuel system can make your car run better and improve gas mileage. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts and pick up a bottle of Chevron Techron Fuel System Cleaner and add it to your tank during your next fill-up. On sale now, buy one, get one free at O'Reilly Auto Parts. Stop by and talk to our professional parts people today or visit O'ReillyAuto.com.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Jeremy Edwards with Norris Collision Center of Goddard explains the Norris Collision Center difference.
That small door ding that's been bothering them since they bought the car, the air noise that it's always had since they've bought the car, we'll go over and above what just the insurance company says, just to make sure it's a very memorable experience inside and out, and go that extra mile for them, because we can afford to do that. We can take the time, as much time as we want, to make sure it's perfect.
Norris Collision Center of Goddard. See more at norriscollisioncenter.com.
Fox, Kansas is excited about the growing sense of pride in our community. There's a renewed spirit in Wichita, and many local business owners are dedicated to its success. They continue to invest in our city so we can all see Wichita really thrive. So join us in saying thank you to these local business leaders: Home Elevator Company, Summit Tech Home Improvement, The Bullet Stop, CAO and Construction, Herb Snow and Son Appliance Center, and the Alonzi Group. Because with great neighbors and friends like these, we should all be Wichita proud.
Market information, Mid-America Ag Network. Going to take a look at Kansas and Oklahoma's closing cash grain bids. It is Wednesday, August 11th, 2021. We saw some mixed numbers in the futures markets. Corn and soybeans were up. Wheat was down for the most part. Let's take a look at how the cash markets wound up across Kansas and Oklahoma. We'll start at Garden City, Kansas, where the wheat finished at $6.93, the corn $6.09, Milo $5.64, beans $13.15. At Fredonia, $6.80 on the wheat, $6.51 on the corn, $5.41 on the Milo, $13.76 on the beans. At Belleville, the wheat $6.80, the corn $5.96, Milo $5.74, beans $13.35. At Sumner County, wheat finished at $6.96, corn $6.31, Milo $5.96, beans $13.22. At Concordia, $6.90 on the wheat, $6.06 on the corn, $5.84 on the Milo, and $13.45 on soybeans. And at Goodland, wheat $6.76, corn $6.11, Milo $5.89, beans $13 even. We'll get to Oklahoma now, starting at Ponca City, where the wheat finished at $6.81, corn $6.07, Milo $5.96, beans $13.55. At Enid, wheat was at $7 at the end of the day, Milo $6.29. Soybeans $12.90. Panhandle Hooker $7.15 on the wheat, $6.46 on the corn, $5.76 on the Milo, and $13.25 on soybeans. Grab the calculator to do some mathematical gymnastics. Come up with averages, and here we go. Everything is up except wheat today. $6.94 the average average across Kansas and Oklahoma on wheat. That's down 4. Corn finished at $6.19 on the average. That's up 6. Milo is at $5.83 across the two states. That's up 7. And across Oklahoma and Kansas, soybeans average at $13.29. That's up 2. So a good day for everything except wheat. Wheat was down 4. Corn up 6. Milo up 7. Soybeans up 2 on Wednesday. Kansas and Oklahoma closing cash grain bids. Mid-America Ag Network.
Your local weather on KQAM, brought to you by Jewelry Savers, conveniently located off K96 on Greenwich Road, the Kansas trusted jewelry source since 1971. Jewelry Savers.
The temperatures will soar again this afternoon, a high near 100 in Wichita, but thanks to that humidity, heat index could pass 106. It'll also be on the breezy side, south wind 10 to 20, gusts to 25. This evening, a very slight chance of a shower or storm, but that'll fade overnight tonight, with lows dropping into the mid-70s. With your forecast, I'm Cake meteorologist Frank Waugh.
That's your latest Cake First Alert weather update on the Big Talker, KQAM.
At 4:06, it's currently 100 degrees.
Fighting for freedom every day.
They are absolutely desperate to pretend the last 4 years never happened and for them to go back to what they liked to do before, which is create these massive spending bills to pretend that it's really, really important to you when you only get about 5% of what's in the bill, and they can't do it because we're aware of it. We're paying attention to it, and they don't like that.
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
You have to admit, you're a little bit frustrated with what's going on in Washington, D.C., right? Yeah, or really just all around the country. We right now have a cyber symposium that's getting no attention in any way, shape, or form. Although, I got to admit, Mike Lindell, if you're going to do the cyber symposium and if you're going to be up there and actually hosting an actual event that's a 3-day conference, can you get like a moderator or something? I love Mike Lindell to death. Never met the guy, but sounds like a great guy. Obviously a great message, very religious individual, very conservative, promoting conservative values, trying to get down to the bottom of the election fraud going on in the nation. But if you're going to do it, could you make it a little more structured with a moderator, because it sounds a little scatterbrained when you're up there just kind of ranting. I haven't watched a whole lot of it. I still have not had a chance to do so. Maybe this weekend I'm going to sit down and just watch the whole 3-day conference or something if it's recorded somewhere. I have heard that there is some interesting information on that with elections, not just the presidential election, but different congressional seats around the nation as well that could have been flipped by some of these irregularities in the electronic voting machines as well. So I find that kind of interesting. We have that. We have inflation on the rise right now, a 20-year high with inflation. Apparently a success for the Biden administration. I know, they're excited. I mean, when you asked them about it just a month or two ago, they said, well, that just shows a sign of successful policy from us with the recovery of the economy. Not quite sure how that works. I'm not really sure. I don't know, because apparently when inflation goes up, that means we're doing well, which means we're spending more money on the same goods, and people should be very proud of that or something. I don't know. We have that. We still have the labor shortage in the country. It's just a mess right now, and we're trying to figure out how to move forward. Welcome into the broadcast. Broadcasting live out of the heart of the nation here in Wichita, Kansas, on our flagship radio stations, radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting all over the country, wherever you may be watching or listening. Your millennial general reporting for duty here on The Voice of Reason, like we do every single day. Bottom of the hour, super excited. Have on the program, she is the author of the book Born to Fight, Lincoln and Trump. Is there a correlation between the 16th president of the United States and the 45th president of the United States? As we talk with Gretchen WOLLERT, we'll chat with her at the bottom of the hour. Right now, is the COVID thing still a thing? Got to be honest. I've kind of not paid attention to it for a few days, and I really don't want to anymore. Is the COVID thing still a thing? Because right now, apparently, more states and cities are trying to lock things down. Again, Los Angeles, I'm sorry for you guys. There's a lot of conservatives that listen to the show out in L.A. and California. We love you guys. I don't know how you survive out in California and Los Angeles right now, as L.A. businesses beginning to demand vaccination proof for different stores, restaurants, movie theaters, and other public places for you to go. If you want to go out in public, you got to show your vaccination card. I have to admit, I'm kind of glad I live in Kansas because that's not going to happen. And even if it did, I'll find a way to survive on my own without doing that because I'm over the COVID thing. Most people are over the COVID thing. We don't want to talk about the vaccine anymore. We don't want to talk about mask mandates anymore. I am on the teetering point of taking Little Voice of Reason and doing the homeschooling right now, which we're working on some of those options. Right now, in the area that she's in, they're not mandating masks, so we're going to send her to school temporarily, but we'll see how long that lasts. I don't know. I think we're just going to have to do the homeschooling anyways. I've told Mrs. Voice of Reason that I think we just need to do the microschooling. Have her be a teacher for community students, and we could teach them the proper way. We could do like pin the tail on the donkey and have it be like the back end of Barack Obama or something, or the Democrat Party like logo and emblem. I think we could teach them, survivalist skills on how to do the planting and the gardening, how to shoot firearms. I'm thinking we could do a little mini school, the micro school out of our backyard. The Hooser Media Network micro school. I think I'm kind of down with this idea. I don't know. It's time to do something different. But right now, they're not mandating the mask, at least in her little area. They're recommending, but they're not mandating. So we'll see how long that lasts. We have the headline right now that the Pfizer vaccine apparently is only 42% effective in the month of July because so many individuals have been caught and tested positive for the virus after getting the vaccine. I don't know what to tell you on that one, but I think people are just done with it. They're sick and tired of having to listen to the headlines. They're sick and tired of listening to people go on about it and be silenced about it. Rand Paul actually got banned from YouTube because he questioned mask mandates, saying that cloth masks don't do any good and we shouldn't have to wear masks, and that banned him off of YouTube. I will give him credit, though, and I've loved Rand Paul. Huge fan of Rand Paul. He made fun of the wearing masks on airplanes and the mandate there where you need to show your proof of vaccination and or wear masks on airplanes here soon. He went after that one. Then he posted this, and it's about 3.5 minutes long. So I'm going to play it, but we'll try and break it up a little bit so that way it's not 3.5 minutes of him completely. But he's had enough as well, and this is the point we need to be at. This is truly where we need to go. The stance we need to take as conservatives, not even as conservatives, just as liberty-minded individuals that like individual sovereignty. If you choose to wear your mask, if you choose to get the vaccine, if you choose to live your life a certain way, do your thing, man. I don't really care. But the forcefulness from the government has to stop. No more incentives. No more using taxpayer money to buy people off to get the vaccine. No more forcing people to do so in order to partake in said organization or said certain event. No more. It's time to take a stand. And Rand Paul, the fact that elected officials are encouraging this means it's time for us to do so as well. We always say, what can we do? We get frustrated. We want to fight, but then we get frustrated because the elected officials don't actually fight. Well, guess what? There are a few that are. And when they are, that means we need to jump and piggyback on back of that message as well and ride along with it. This is what Rand Paul had to say just a day or so ago.
It's time for us to resist. They can't arrest all of us. They can't keep all of your kids home from school. They can't keep every government building closed, although I've got a long list of ones they might keep closed or might ought to keep closed. We don't have to accept the mandates, lockdowns, and harmful policies of the petty tyrants and bureaucrats. We can simply say no, not again. Nancy Pelosi, you will not arrest or stop me or anyone on my staff from doing our jobs.
All right, let's stop right there. First off, do you realize how school districts get their money? They get it from the number of students that are actually enrolled in the district. If you're taking them out to go to private school and homeschooling, then they lose money. That's why a lot of the schools ended up seeing such a decrease, and they panicked, which is why they're up in debate, and we don't know whether to do mask mandates or non-mask mandates. We don't know what to do right now because if you've noticed, the administrators and the teachers and the administration within the school district locally all over the country, they're the ones wanting to put in the mask mandate. The parents are at the school board meetings yelling and screaming at the school board saying, don't pass the mask mandates because we don't want them because we want to make our own decision on our own. But it's the administration that thinks we know better than you as the parent. We're going to have decisions for your children over you as the parent and as the legal guardian. So therefore, we're going to make our own policy decisions and we're going to do the mask mandates. But if you pull them out, they don't get as much money. They lose funds. And that's where it hits them. If you notice in the world of politics, in the world in general as well, money drives decisions. good decisions and bad decisions, it's all based on finances. If they can financially sustain themselves, if they take a hit, or if they do something bad, whether it's a private product and people don't want to buy the consumer product that's being put out there by the company, or whether it's a manufacturing thing and it's too pricey or too expensive, or the quality's not there, or whether the education system, if they have poor quality, or they have a poor system, or they're telling you that they're going to make a decision for your children outside of your own decision, you can do something about that. And by doing something about that, I mean, if you have the opportunity to do so, do the homeschooling. Take that financial incentive away from the local school district, because now we have that opportunity, and we have an elected official encouraging us to stand up and do that.
We have either had COVID, had the vaccine, or been offered the vaccine. We will make our own health choices. We will not show you a passport. We will not wear a mask. We will not be forced into random screenings and testings so you can continue your drunk with power reign over the Capitol. President Biden, we will not accept your agency's mandates or your reported moves towards a lockdown. No one should follow the CDC's anti-science mask mandates. And if you want to shut down federal agencies again, some of which aren't even back to work yet, I will stop every bill coming through the Senate with an amendment to cut their funding if they don't come back to work in person.
All right, let's stop right there for a second. Haven't we been calling to do this for a while? Go about your business. If you want to wear the mask, do it on your own accord. If you want to get the vaccine, do it on your own accord. But businesses to mandate this, shame on you if you choose to do that. School districts, if you mandate children to do this, and if you're trying to encourage vaccination of 12-year-olds, absolutely shame on you. I see that as borderline child abuse. That is sick. That is pathetic. And how dare you try to vaccinate children unnecessarily when they don't even get sick from this illness? It's time to fight back. And not fighting back by taking arms and rising up. Fighting back by going about your business, not listening to them in any way, shape, or form. You go to work. You go get your goods, you go shopping, you walk around the parks, you go to the event centers, you go see a show, you go eat at a restaurant, you go take a date night out with your significant other, you go home, you visit your family, you have a family gathering, you go out to the lake, you go out to the park, you do whatever you want to do. Don't listen to the fools that tell you this is what you have to do to function in society. No, and if they try it, you disobey it. Yes, civil disobedience by refusing the mask in a public place if you have to, or just not going there, or the business taking your money elsewhere, refusing to get the vaccine, or carrying around a stupid little vaccine card. No, it's not going to happen.
Local bureaucrats and union bosses, we will not allow you to do more harm to our children again this year. Children are not at any more risk from COVID than they are from the seasonal flu. Every adult who works in schools has either had the vaccine or had their chance to get vaccinated. There is no reason for mask mandates, part-time schools, or any lockdown measures. Children are falling behind in school and are being harmed physically and psychologically by the tactics that you have used to keep them from the classroom during the last year. We won't allow it again. If a school system attempts to keep children from full-time in-person school, I will hold up every bill with two amendments, one to defund them and another to allow parents the choice of where the money goes for their child's education. Do I sound fed up to you? That's because I am. I'm not a career politician. I practiced medicine for 33 years. I graduated from Duke Medical School. I've worked in emergency rooms. I've studied immunology and virology. And I ultimately chose to become an eye surgeon. I've been telling everyone for a year now that Dr. Fauci and other public health bureaucrats were not following the science, and I've been proven right time and time again. But I'm not the only one who's fed up. I can't go anywhere these days without people coming up and thanking me for standing up for them, whether I'm at work or at events in Kentucky, at airports, in restaurants, or in stores. People thank me for taking a stand.
All right, there you go. That's enough time on that. We got to take a break here in a minute. But I think people are frustrated. I think people are over it. I think that we have had enough so we can make our own decisions, but we've had enough from the bureaucrats, from the local levels in every local health department all over the country, to the state health departments, to the CDC, to Fauci, to the World Health Organization, all the way up. We're done. We're sick of it. We're not abiding by any of the laws or rules anymore. We don't care if you try to shut things down, Biden. We're not going to listen to it. And thank God we have elected officials like that will take a stand and try to fight. We need more of them on the county commission levels across the nation, in city councils across the nation, at state legislative levels across the nation, and there in Washington, D.C. Back after this here on The Voice of Reason.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back, and we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station.
We're here for you.
Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show is growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hoosier-holic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. For a schedule of upcoming guests on the program, daily show topics, or to reach out to the Hooser Media Network, visit us on the website at HooserReason.com. Or for general inquiries, to be a guest on the program, or to have Andy a guest on your program, email us at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Keep fighting for freedom with us every day right here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network. Now, back to the show.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
I just got one more quick thing to say on the COVID thing, then we'll move on. I know people are sick and tired of it. Coming up, we do have Gretchen WOLLERT at the bottom of the hour with her latest book comparing the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln, to the 45th president, Donald J. Trump. Is there a correlation? We'll do that when we come back and have some fun there. Plus, I want to get an update on the symposium going on, and some elections that are happening right now as well, with the recall election going on in California. What's the latest there? Is there a chance for Republicans actually take that seat? Say what? So we'll do that here in a bit as well. Real quickly, though, I do have to laugh as we hear about the science and the facts, and you just trust the science that Fauci's putting out, that the World Health Organization's putting out, that the CDC's what? Just trust the science. The science tells you to get the vaccine. The science is telling you this. The science is telling you that. I find it hilarious because right now the CDC is kind of lagging on their data reporting anyways, to where a lot of health departments across the country are waiting for certain reports to come out and certain data issues to come out from the CDC to make better decisions on what to do. Now, conveniently, this is happening when the Delta variant started spreading, and as you know, the Delta variant is, yes, more contagious, very scary. That's what you hear all the time. But yet less severe, because that has a death rate of right around 0.03 to 0.08%. Here in my state, in the state of Kansas, looking at the numbers now, if all of the deaths that have happened over the last month or so are related to the Delta variant only, it would be at 0.08%. Yeah, only if all of them were. Now, all of them are not. All they're saying is that hospitalizations are up and deaths are going back up and cases are going back up because of Delta, because it's more contagious. When you look at it, at least here in the state of Kansas, I haven't looked at every state across the nation, our death rate sitting at about 0.08%. And that's with both the regular COVID and the Delta variant of COVID. That's still lower than the death rate is the lowest that it's been for the entire pandemic for the last year and a half. But they try to panic you and scare you and tell you that it's more contagious, so therefore get the vaccine. But the reporting hasn't come out really yet on the vaccines and how efficient they're actually working as of right now. In other nations, however, we are starting to get some information. According to Axios.com, in South Africa, a study with Johnson & Johnson vaccine shows it's effective against the Delta variant, particularly against death. Okay, we can look at the report later as more detail. The Public Health of England published data collected through the end of July showing that the vaccinated people are less likely than unvaccinated to become infected with Delta, but once they are infected, they are equally as contagious. Say what? So they're still encouraging the vaccine because then it's less of a chance for you to actually get it. But once you do get it, then you can spread it and you can have symptoms just as badly as a vaccinated or unvaccinated individual. At the same time, Imperial College in London released their latest study showing that vaccine effectiveness against symptomatic disease has dropped significantly. Let me repeat that again. Found that vaccines' effectiveness against symptomatic individuals, meaning if you already have symptoms of the virus and they inject you, that the effectiveness is dropping with the rise of the Delta variant in the UK. So not very effective against those in the UK against the Delta variant. Meanwhile, here back on the range, back in the United States of America, the CDC published data on the vaccine's effectiveness in older Americans, except the data only went through April before the Delta variant even became a thing. Here's the next crazy part. As they try to disregard some of their information, they're trying again to push this vaccine mandates and trying to push this vaccine narrative, is that they say 99.99% of people who are fully vaccinated against COVID-19 have not had breakthrough cases. However, at the same time, 3/4 or 74% of all reported breakthrough cases that did happen happened among seniors age 65 years and older. Wait, what? Correct me if I'm wrong. Isn't that the demographic, 65 years and older, that are usually older with less strong immune systems, compromised immune systems? Aren't those that we need to protect anyways? The younger, healthier individuals that probably wouldn't have gotten sick anyways didn't get sick. So they're like, oh, look, it didn't happen a breakthrough case because they got vaccinated. No, it's because they were young and had a strong immune system. And the ones that it's supposed to protect, 74% of the breakthrough cases are from them.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of the Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during the show to let me know your thoughts. Many already do, and it's a great chat room for all of our great listeners. And you can always sign up for the Patreon site to get exclusive content, maybe hear show products before we air them on the radio, and a lot more. And when you support us on Patreon, you also help the show be able to fight for conservative values each and every day. So it's a win-win. Just find us at Hooser Reason on all of your social media platforms, or you can find a link to all of our social media sites on our website at HooserReason.com. We know you're on social media already, so bring some reason into your day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do.
The Hooser Media Network is way more than just the voice of reason. It's your source to find numerous different online talk shows, podcasts, TV, and radio programs, all in one simple online location for you. From political talk to health talk to whatever you may be interested in, we're here for you. And I tell you, it's growing every day. Catch Tracy Maxfield with her podcast, Engage, Educate, and Empower, discussing mental health issues in children and teenagers. From bullying, teenage suicide, addiction, ADHD, and so much more, learn from Tracy and her guests about symptoms, signs, and ways to talk to your children, plus so much more. Having battled depression, being the author of the internationally acclaimed book Escaping the Rabbit Hole, and being a retired nurse, Tracy is kind of the go-to on the subject. Make sure to find her on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, along with her website at tracymaxfield.com. Also, make sure to tune into the weekly podcast Jump, Pivot, and Roll with Shannon Stiles and Rachel Murphy. Taking that next big leap of faith is hard. Trying to write a book, maybe struggling with a relationship, looking to take that next big career step. What's stopping you? There's a lot of big questions there, and they're questions that Rachel and Shannon want to help with you each and every week. It's Jump, Pivot, and Roll on any of your favorite podcasting sites and on Facebook and YouTube. All of these shows and a heck of a lot more can be found on the Hooser Media Network Facebook and YouTube channels. Make sure to follow and subscribe to check them out today. Follow all the shows, and if you have any inquiries, check us out at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, it's Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason. The show's growing all the time, and as we talk about the big issues of the day, one of the big parts of the program is you. And I want you to join us on the program. Whether you agree, disagree, or just want to relieve some of that political frustration, we're here for you. No matter where you may be watching, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter,
Go ahead and leave a comment on the live stream. Chat with other listeners and let me know your thoughts on the topic. Also chat with us on the Podbean chat room. Just go to our live stream of the show at podbean.com and chat with other listeners. You can also call into the program. Just download the Podbean app onto your smartphone, join the live stream, and call in through the app. This is your show, and we want to hear your thoughts. So go ahead and join us here on the Voice of Reason and the Hooser Media Network.
When Reason Meets Radio. You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
It goes by so fast. Slow down. Time, slow down. I'm sure everybody likes to say that. Welcome back into the Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out. Trying to cram that 10 pounds of reason into that 5-pound bag. Trying to rebrand the millennial generation, one radio listener at a time, radio and TV, and the live streaming, and the podcasting. We're still killing it on our downloads all over the country. Thank you so much for that. That's awesome. We're still killing it with our live stream, with our hits on our website, signing up for the newsletter at HooserReason.com. You can find all of our social media, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Twitch.tv, OurFreedomBook.com, Instagram, TikTok, all of it with the handle at Hooser Reason. Yeah, we are solid all across the board. You can find it at the same handle on all of those social media sites, HOOSER Reason. Also at the website at HooserReason.com, the fastest hour of radio on radio. And I don't care what any other host tells you. I'm sure that there's a few other. I know there's a couple others. I was actually just on the program with Armed American Radio. The great Mark Walters was on his show just before we started our program last hour, so that was a lot of fun, and I always appreciate chatting with him. He always says that he's got the fastest hour. It's right here on The Voice of Reason. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Let's shift gears a little bit. I do want to get into the California election, the recall election here in just a bit, along with some more of this new data coming out from the CDC, or lack thereof, when it comes to COVID, the Delta variant, and the efficiency of the vaccines. But let's get into something different today. What do you say?
What's trending today?
As I am super excited to talk about this next book, as I think this is fascinating. I love finding correlations, and did we at least see a glimpse of what we've done in the past here in the country in different cycles, or at least trying to represent, and what's the correlation between the two? Author of the book, Born to Fight, Lincoln and Trump. Our next guest, she's a small business owner, community educator, the past chairman of her local school board, also current chairperson, or also a member of the local school board as well. It's Gretchen WOLLERT here with us. Gretchen, how are you, my friend?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, I appreciate you coming on the show very much. It's I really look forward to chatting with you here. How much of a correlation is there between back in the good old days of Abraham Lincoln, kind of, and Donald Trump that we saw just a few years ago?
Oh, my goodness. There's 10 chapters worth of correlation between him, not just the times in which we are. We're in a divided America.
Yeah.
There's no room for compromise in the middle. There are two sides, and that's just the beginning. There are 9 chapters in this book of how Donald Trump and Abraham Lincoln are similar. And I'm not talking about just their the way people talk about their hair or their first ladies and how they completely blast what Mary Lincoln and Melania Trump always wore, but how they fight their faith, their ancestries, how they raise their children, how they keep it real, and masters of communication, leadership styles, and actually both are self-made men. Unbelievable, but Donald Trump is a self-made man.
Yeah.
So many similarities.
I had no idea it went that deep, so let's talk about some of this. Before we get into the policy and the politics side of it, let's talk about the personal side. Now, I don't know much about Abraham Lincoln's wife. I love history, and I love that time era, Civil War era. Always really fascinated me, but I've never actually looked into the lifestyle of Abraham Lincoln nor his family at all. So talk about some of those similarities between his livelihood, his family lifestyle, and the same as Trump.
Oh, well, both Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump did not like to talk about their personal lives, neither one. Whenever Abraham Lincoln entered the presidency, he was asked for biographical information during the campaign, and he said, "You can't make anything of it except it's in Gray's Elegy, the Annals of the Poor." And that's, He didn't like to talk about it. Donald Trump does not like to talk about his personal side of life. So that's definitely a similarity, but they're actually very similar. They were both drawn to strong, independent, smart women. Mary Lincoln, she is that. She was very, very savvy, and Lincoln really appreciated that about her. Both are workaholic husbands. Both are, they tend to leave the child rearing to their wives. Actually, Abraham Lincoln had 2 failed love affairs before he found his first lady, and Donald Trump, of course, had 2 failed marriages before he found his first lady. So many similarities there. They both wanted, a lot of people don't realize, Abraham Lincoln, those closest to him, knew him for his supreme self-confidence, his inexhaustible ambition, mean streak, braggadocio, arrogance, vanity. Who else do we know like that? Well, Donald Trump wears it all on his sleeve. Abraham Lincoln, it was subdued because it didn't work for him publicly. It was a different time then. But both incredible fighters stood up and said, that is enough, whenever the Democrats and the liberal left want to turn our nation into something that worked for them, and they loved it. Elites lording over the masses. That's what slavery was. They wanted it across the nation. And Donald Trump is fighting socialism. Democrats, again, who want to spread all those absurd things that are in the blue-run states to the rest of the nation. And he stood up and said, that's enough. So that's why half the nation hates him. Half the nation hated Abraham Lincoln for, the war he fought. Unity was not achieved until after 4 years of horrific and destructive civil war. Then, after he conquered them, then we were brought back together. I don't think we have hit that breaking point yet today, but I believe it's coming.
I agree with that. I believe it's coming. I want to get into the division and the similarities between divisiveness then and today, because you're right. I think it is very similar, and I want to go deeper into that. I was not aware, though, that he was very staunch and very outspoken in that sense, being Abraham Lincoln, because whenever we portray him in plays or in movies or when we try to think about him, he's always portrayed as like the very quiet guy in the corner, the very philosophical guy that looks at both sides and just analyzes everything and then comes out, and when he speaks, it's almost like that Jesus moment where he speaks and everything comes out as just like pure philosophy and like, oh, that aha moment. But it sounds like he wasn't quite that kind of guy.
Oh, no. He in my book, you have to read the chapter Common Man. It just brings out all those things. I believe we know kind of the sanitized version of Abraham Lincoln. It just kind of happens through history. Things get lost. His son Robert, whenever Lincoln was assassinated, he actually got rid of a lot of things. He didn't want people really knowing. His father was just a normal guy, and he actually had a lot of cringe-worthy attributes to go along with that. But, yeah, he is a normal guy. His humor, a lot of people don't realize that his humor was really, he didn't care the subject as long as the joke was really good and had that super wit to it and the stories that he told. But scatological, kind of locker roomish, Lincoln was asked, why don't you put all of your stories into a book? And he said, such a book would stink like 1,000 privies. So
I love it. So the big question is then, so if Twitter was around at that time, would he be just as controversial on the Tweety as Donald Trump is?
Well, I believe that he would have absolutely used the technology of the day, and he did. Any technology, he would have absolutely taken advantage of it. Of course, back then, closest thing to Twitter, and he used it during the war years, was Morse code. That was basically, he had to keep it short.
Yeah.
But yes, Lincoln actually used whatever means possible if he could get his message out to the people. So just like Donald Trump, of course, there was no 24/7 news cycle, but Lincoln definitely took advantage of whatever was available. You had to write a letter, or you had to write things down. There was no recording, so he had to really pick and choose.
Yeah.
He couldn't keep up with answering everybody. it just would have been too much because all of that handwriting. He had to save it for really important things.
I could see him doing that as like a Twitter thing and on the Morse code just tweeting out to everybody and be like, this senator is a rhino Republican and a hack and should not be trusted.
Abraham Lincoln, absolutely. He could ridicule political opponents with the best of them. But things were different then. Whenever you run for president back then, you weren't out amidst everybody. You kind of took a back seat and just let the machine work. But I have no doubt if Abraham Lincoln were alive today, he would take advantage of every possible opportunity to speak. And he, the speeches we know about him, those wonderful Gettysburg Address and his first and second inaugurals, those were very practiced, well-rehearsed speeches. But normally when he spoke, a lot like Donald Trump, he kept it simple. He kept it absolutely bold and concise. Yeah. Straight talk is what you always got from Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump.
No, I love it. We're talking with Gretchen Wollert, Born to Fight, Lincoln and Trump. You can find her online on the website at GretchenWollert.com as well. We got just about a minute before we have to take a break. Can you stick over one more segment with us as well?
Sure, that'd be great.
That'd be great. I want to tease it and kind of leading up to this is I want to talk about what they did, both with the political realm and the division between the two time eras, but also the starting of a new movement as well. Obviously, Lincoln being the first Republican president in the country and starting that Republican movement. Trump kind of started this whole MAGA movement as well with this populist conservative movement as well, and we can find some similarities in that as well. So it's fascinating, as you're right, to watch these two and what they did, how they handled the times and the eras that they actually lived in. We'll take a break. When we come back, I want to talk about some of those, plus I want to kind of recap some of these current events as well. It is a Wednesday, the midweek celebration here on The Voice of Reason. Right around the corner, the difference in the similarities between Abraham Lincoln, the 16th president, and Donald J. Trump, the 45th president. Is there a correlation between those two? It's looking like it. Are we going through a cycle? And if so, what can we learn from the past to be able to look forward to what's going to come in the near future here in America? We'll do all that and more here on The Voice of Reason. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser with The Voice of Reason. Fighting for conservative principles seems more difficult all the time. The progressive left seems to find new and creative ways to limit freedom, abuse power, and trample the Constitution each and every day. That's why we need the knowledge, resources, and common sense to push back. And we can help with that. Visit our website at HooserReason.com. There's some really great stuff for you. You can read the latest blog discussing topical issues and current events. Let us know your thoughts by filling out our monthly survey. Keep track of what I might be doing or where I may be speaking. Listen to the podcast of your favorite guest or show, and check out our latest Voice of Reason product infomercials. Plus, you can find upcoming show schedules and guest lineups to plan your radio listening appropriately. And finally, make sure to become a Hoosier-holic by subscribing to the free newsletter. Stay up to date on the latest news of the show, fun facts of the month, and learn new ways to defend and preserve this great republic. It's all there at HooserReason.com. Again, HooserReason.com. Go check it out. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Miss part of the show? Don't worry about it. There's plenty of ways to catch the program, and here's how you can do it. First, make sure to tune in every day right here on your favorite radio station. We're here for you. Second, subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite sites. YouTube and iTunes, Spotify and Google Play, TuneIn, Podbean, and more. Have the show automatically downloaded to your favorite device. Last, visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can listen to the podcast, catch our special features, and more. It's the Voice of Reason on radio, TV, and online, helping you defend and preserve this great republic. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. Want to reach out to the show? A big part of the program is you, and we want to hear from you. Let us know your thoughts of the show, maybe a guest we've had on the program, or my favorite, when you disagree with something that I talk about. You can email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or send us a message through our website at HooserReason.com. The show's not about me, it's about you. So be heard and be your own voice of reason. Again, email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com or find our contact information at HooserReason.com.
Oh, hi. You know, conservative messages now are more important than ever before. Election season, state legislative issues, and a rise in the radical left socialist progressive agenda. What we really need now more than ever before is knowledge and wisdom. That's where we come in. Hi, I'm Andy Hooser with the Voice of Reason, and I'm your voice for reasonable talk, conservative commentary, great guests and entertainment on radio, TV, and the internet. It's time to bring some common sense back into the discussion. National issues, state legislative issues, no matter where you may be, upcoming elections, and a heck of a lot more, we can bring traditional values, constitutional principles, and local activism back. And here's what you can do. First, follow us on all the social media platforms at Hooser Reason. You can watch the live stream of the show, leave comments, and even call into the program. Second, make sure to subscribe to the podcast on all of your audio devices, from iTunes and Spotify to Google Play and TuneIn. Make sure to subscribe to have every episode automatically downloaded so you don't miss a single episode. Third, make sure to visit our website at HooserReason.com. You can catch our monthly blog talking about deeper discussions, see who's coming on the program, plus you can sign up for our free monthly newsletter to catch the latest on the show, monthly topics, upcoming interviews, and more. It's time to be that local activist again. That's what the Voice of Reason's all about. Why? Because that's kind of the reasonable thing to do. And it's time for you to speak up, speak out, speak loud, speak proud, speak the truth, and always speak some reason. Hey, miss a show? Don't worry about it. You have plenty of opportunities to watch, listen, learn, and be entertained with the Voice of Reason anytime you want. And here's how you can do it. First, become a Hooserholic by going to HooserReason.com and signing up for the show newsletter to get the latest on the show, upcoming guests, topical discussions, and more. Next, subscribe to the podcast and have the show automatically downloaded to any platform you like to use. You can subscribe through any of your favorite platforms with iTunes and Spotify, Google Play and TuneIn, or you can also go and subscribe directly to our Podbean website. Last, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com, search Hooser Reason, and subscribe to watch all of our shows, videos, and get notified whenever we're live. All the links and info are at HooserReason.com. Hey, I hope you're enjoying the program today. Be sure to subscribe to the podcast on any of your favorite podcasting sites and have the show automatically downloaded to your phone or computer every single day. Just find us on any podcasting site or go to HooserReason.podbean.com. And be sure to check out our Patreon site, become the ultimate Hooserholic, and help us fight for conservative values every day. Why? Because it's kind of the reasonable thing to do. Now back to the national broadcast of the Voice of Reason.
You're listening to the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Welcome back into the program. Last few minutes of the show, like we do on a midweek celebration, the post-to-post Monday, the pre-Friday, however you want to look at it. It's great to have you on the Voice of Reason like you do every single day. I love these conversations. Absolutely love them. I am a history nut and a nerd. I love learning about history, not to mention the correlations of what's going on today, because if you don't understand the past, you're doomed to repeat it. You ever hear that one before? And it sounds like we're riding through it right now as we talk with the author of the book, Born to Fight, Lincoln and Trump. You can find the book online. You can find it at bookstores, also on the website at GretchenWOLLERT.com, as Gretchen's on the line with us here. And with the last few minutes, Gretchen, let's talk about a couple of things. Number one, let's talk about the division, because obviously that's one of the biggest things that sticks out in my mind when a correlation between Abraham Lincoln and Donald Trump is the division. We obviously had a civil war at that time on numerous things. It was about racism and slavery, but it wasn't just about that. We had taxes and regulation from the South. We had the South believing that they didn't have the right population size to actually have a say in federal elections that were going on. There was a lot of issues going on then. Now, I see a lot of similarities. We have one side wanting socialism and higher taxes and regulation. We have another side that doesn't feel like their votes properly being actually accounted for right now. We have identity politics, again, with the same party, ironically, that was advocating for slavery and segregation, now supporting resegregation and identity politics with Black Lives Matter and Antifa. We need to be apologizing because of our white supremacy and all this other garbage and white privilege and all this other stuff. It's weird. The same issues are causing the same type of divide. We just haven't seen a physical civil war, which is a good thing. But If we can learn from the past, do you think something like that could potentially happen again, or is this division going to be here for a while? Can we find common ground again? What could we learn from this?
Well, we can learn that, yes, you said it exactly. It's like if we don't know our history, we are doomed to repeat it. And we are repeating that divided America because we're actually fighting the same adversary Lincoln identified early in his political career. He referred to the Locofocos and Mobocrats. Those are terms he used for the Democrat Party. And it's all about limiting freedom. Those things that the division then, of course, was the Southern Democrats, and you need to kind of know your history. There were no anti-slavery Democrats. Lincoln actually gave up toward the end of the war, even getting support from Democrats, because he realized that they are all for the same thing. It didn't matter if they were in the North or the South. So he just kind of gave up even trying to get their help on certain things because he discovered that. And he actually simplified the fight back then, and Lincoln was great about that. Just like Donald Trump is, he wants the people to understand exactly what's going on. He said the crisis was basically, the conflict of the Civil War was basically slavery. You believe it's right, we believe it's wrong. And we have that going today, only it's with socialism. Yes, you can kind of get lost in the details, but we are as polarized today as they were prior to the Civil War. And in fighting this same adversary, it's, hardworking Americans who believe in foundational freedoms, true history, respect for our flag. They want strength and prosperity. And then against the liberals, the globalists, anti-American haters of traditional values, they want a weak government-controlled people, and that's it. They limit freedom. In the Abraham Lincoln's time, it was they wanted the slave plantation, and the absurdity was escalated. There is no limit to the absurdity of the left.
Yeah.
They said slavery, it's a necessary evil, and then it became a positive good. They said, oh no, it's a positive good. You need to use it in the northern factories. We have to have it everywhere across America. And that's when Lincoln stood up and said, hey, wait a minute. Wow. He actually said, evil can't stand discussion. And I'm quoting Lincoln, what kills the skunk is the publicity it gives itself. What a skunk wants to do is keep snug under the barn in the daytime when men are around with shotguns. Whatever we call them, no, the Democrats have been skunks hiding under that barn for decades, coming out in the night when we're all asleep. Darkness hides their havoc. But today they become even bolder and even more destructive in the daylight. And we see that there is no room for compromise today. And the Republicans, which Lincoln actually called them the last best hope of earth, American Republicans, he said, you've got to get rid of the rhinos and you've got to get on the ball.
Man, I love it. Gretchen Wollert, we are out of time. I could talk to you for an hour and more about this. I love this topic so much. Born to fight, Lincoln and Trump. He nailed it. That's a beautiful quote to wrap up the show with, and it just puts things into perspective what we have to continue to fight for. Gretchen, let's get you back on the program again soon.
Great. Anytime. Thank you.
Appreciate it very much. Podcast going up in a little bit. I'm Andy Hooser. This is The Voice of Reason. We'll see you on the radio tomorrow. Have a good one. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. While you listen to the delightful broadcast of The Voice of Reason, don't forget to check us out and follow us on all of our social media sites. Whether you're using Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, Minds.com, or Instagram, we're there for you. Find us at Hooser Reason on any of your social media platforms. You'll see special commentary, links to the articles and news that we use on the show, and videos of the broadcast. Plus, you can directly send us a message on social media during